Today we're building an HPA rifle for my brother as a get well soon present because he just had knee surgery. I'm going to be using the cheapest HPA engine I could find on Amazon Prime, which had free 2-day shipping. Very convenient. And I actually found this thing for even cheaper on my website because I make these things. This is my product. This is my HPA engine. That engine just so happens to be the Backdraft Phoenix, but you're not supposed to see this yet. We have to do the unboxing. Inside the box, you have the engine, the fire control unit, the wire harness, the inner grip line, the quick disconnect fitting, an instruction card, and optional maintenance kit if you add that when you check out. Eventually, the kits will have the Gen 2 catalyst, which has some slightly different user interface, but largely the same features. I always recommend testing your whole kit before you install it. In order to test, we have to connect the IGL, wire everything up for the FCU, connect the battery. At this point, I can check and see if the FCU is functioning by listening for the click of the solenoid opening and closing when I pull the trigger. After confirming that, we can connect air and make sure the engine cycles properly too. With the engine running smoothly and the FCU working properly, it's time for an installation. The first thing you need to do is disassemble your gun. I'm not going to go into extreme detail here because every gun is different. You will probably want to look up a video on how to disassemble your specific make and model. There's probably one on YouTube. Then you can follow along with that video for the disassembly and reassembly, and follow along with me for the install. I had some minor issues getting the gearbox open on this one because I hadn't seen this type before. It's an electric blowback, which is a feature we are definitely not going to retain with our HPA system, but I couldn't get it to crack open, and when I eventually did, it was on the wrong side, and so everything was dumping everywhere, and the main process remains the same for every gearbox when you're doing this conversion. You take all of the guts out because you don't need them anymore. After you get all the guts out, you're going to want to use 99% isopropyl alcohol to clean out your gearbox. And then you throw in the HPA stuff. You're going to want to hang on to the screw that holds in your whole trigger assembly because that is also going to hold your trigger board. You want to make sure the selector plate is making proper contact with the selector switch, and you can put electrical tape on the selector plate if necessary. To install the HPA engine, all you really have to do is drop it in. You need to route the wire harness and inner grip line down either to the grip or to the stock. I'm routing both of mine to the grip, and as you close up the gearbox, you need to apply pressure to the trigger and all of those parts so that everything stays in place. Okay, I'm getting on my knees to beg you, never ever, please, I beg you, never look down the barrel of a loaded airsoft gun. That is a horrible idea, okay? Great, we got that. Now the other thing is, the next step is to check nozzle alignment, which means we have to install all of the shooty bits and then look down the barrel of the gun. There's safe ways to do this though. For example, I used an endoscope, which is essentially a camera that fits down the barrel of the airsoft gun. I guess I didn't immediately check the alignment of my nozzle, but you can see my nozzle was a little off-center. You can also use an iPhone and get that focused to look down the barrel. The only trick is you need to shine a flashlight up your magazine well so that there's a little bit of light for the camera to see. And another super important thing is to make sure that no magazine is in the gun, no BBs are in the hop-up, no air is connected, and no battery is connected whenever you're doing a test like this. Even if you're aiming it at a camera, you don't want to break your camera lens. I knew that my nozzle was slightly too low, and so putting some tape on the bottom of my gearbox would bring that up. This is why you don't really want to assemble everything at this point, just enough to check the alignment. After reassembling my gun, the alignment was dang near perfect. Using the aluminum tape is a big help. It won't compress like electrical tape will, and so you won't lose alignment over time, and it's also such thin layers that it was really easy to get it centered.
It's pretty much perfect to me.
So the main thing for efficiency is you want your dwell set as low as possible. So I'm going to turn the dwell down essentially as low as it'll go while the engine still functions properly. I'm gonna go a little lower. Now you can hear it's not opening the engine all the way. It's trying to fire, but it can't quite get there. That's good. I think that's about as low as I am able to set the dwell. On this version of the Catalyst, we have a 4-position switch, which allows you to select which setting you actually want to adjust. And then we have these plus and minus buttons, which let you actually change those settings. And these LEDs show you what your current value is. So for example, we have the 4-position switch set to dwell. I'm gonna hold plus for 3 seconds in order to read out the current setting. And we saw 6 blinks on the 1's LED, which means we have a setting of 6 milliseconds. If we would have seen 1 blink on the 10's and 2 blinks on the 1's, it would be 12 milliseconds, and so on. And if I want to read out the delay setting, I set the 4-position switch to the delay mode and do the same exact thing. One of the other things we obviously have to figure out is the fire rate. I'm not sure how fast you want it to go. Let me turn it as slow as it'll go real quick. That's as slow as it'll go. But that, I'm wondering if I can get this to feed, because that is freaking insane. There we go. We're getting a solid 42.7 rounds per second out of this thing, which quite impressive for a $250 HPA engine. I have a separate video on my channel that shows the full tuning process in more detail. I recommend watching that so you fully understand how to use your engine. I'm not able to shoot from super far away, but that's a decent little range, and the groupings are very good. With everything tested and working super well, it is time to give my brother his airsoft gun. I just pulled up at his house, so now we're gonna go inside, and I know he's gonna be super excited. Knock knock, anyone home? How's the knee? Anyway, I have a get well soon present for you if you want to check it out.
I mean, I can.
Do you like it?
I mean, too bad I just had knee surgery and can't use it. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you for sharing and commenting on that last video. For the people who did, you were entered into a giveaway, so congratulations if you won. Of course, I have to do one in this video too. And this time I'm giving away 3 HPA engines, so them's the rules if you want to enter. Hopefully whoever wins this one will be a little more grateful than my brother.
So like hypothetically, if I sold it, how much could I get for it?
Later.